So yes, I'm Winnie Luby. I coordinate our program in disability studies. And yeah, I'm excited to just answer your questions if you have them. I know we have a few slides queued up. I'm just going to directly read off of those just for accessibility for everyone. So UVM disability studies. So about disability studies, disability studies recognizes that disability is present in all aspects of research, study, and life, and that everyone benefits from studying disability as we work towards equity in all spaces. So disability studies at UVM are UVM Disability Studies is located at the Center on Disability and Community Inclusion at the University of Vermont. And we're also part of the College of Education and Social Services, and we're located in Mann Hall. And the picture on the right there is Mann Hall. So who is disability studies for? Disability studies is for anyone who wants to add a focus on disability equity to their professional or academic goals and activities. So who enrolls in disability studies at UVM? Working professionals in all fields, anyone with an existing bachelor's degree, UVM graduate students, and international students who are both at UVM and at other schools. And then what can you do with disability studies? So we're going to show you a couple of examples of folks who've been through the program at one point or another. So Lillian Savar is currently the co-chair of the UVM Autism Collaborative. And I'm going to read a quote from her. I figured out that the issues we discussed in the disability studies program and the research questions I had would be better answered and addressed if I had created a team with common interests around me. Out of these discussions, Lillian created the UVM Autism Collaborative. And that's Lillian there in the middle. And there's another person who I work with quite closely, disability studies alum Safakor Komabu Pomai, PhD. Currently, she's the youth transition coordinator at the Vermont Center for Independent Living. She lectures for us at UVM, and she's also a published author. The cover of her book there is on the right. It's a memoir. I'm Able, A Woman's Advice for Disability Change Agents. And myself, I'm also a former certificate student. So currently I'm a lecturer at UVM and I coordinate our disability studies program. I did the certificate as part of my PhD program, actually, and it turned out to be a great fit concentration area for me. About the UVM Disability Studies certificate. So the graduate certificate in disability studies is an 18 credit personalized learning plan. Take 2 required courses plus 4 graduate level courses that you choose and complete a final capstone project. So the required courses, the first one is the Culture of Disability, which I teach in both the fall and the semester and the spring. The next time it will be offered is spring 2024. The second required course is Global Disability Studies, taught by Safa Kaur, and it'll be offered in the summer 2024. And so other UVM disability studies courses, in our catalog, you'll see, if you haven't already, we have a list of suggested courses, but really you could pick from a range of graduate courses across the university, depending on what your interests are. And how we would get to that is, if you were interested, you would meet with me and we talk about what your goals are professionally or personally. And we would brainstorm about the different pathways that you could take through the certificate. So here's some sample pathways that Audrey put together for me. A pathway is what we call the list of courses you'll take to earn your disability studies certificate. So the first one, so say someone is interested in food systems, right? So they take the first 2 required courses. Then there's a few other ones like the economy of sustainable food systems, global change ecology, food systems sociology and policy, and food systems science and policy, right? And in that first required course, we'll talk a little bit about how disability is an issue that we should all pay attention to, especially when we talk about access to healthy foods and public health. So our next sample pathway would be, so if someone was interested in, say, creating artificial limbs, things of that nature, they would take the first two required courses. Then they could take data science one, biothermodynamics, the brain/computer interfaces, and nanobiomaterials. Okay, so this is a really exciting field. So this is another pathway that someone could take if that's their interest. Okay, a third pathway. So this is for someone who might be interested in public health. So the first two required courses, and then they might take public health and health policy, public health law and ethics, public health communications, and exploring healthcare systems. And I can also say I had a former graduate who went on from the certificate to apply and be accepted to the public health master's degree program. And so it turned out to be a great through line for them. Disability studies can also be a part of an accelerated master's degree. And so on the right there, you'll see like the main page of our website for the accelerated masters. What happens is that students in the, let me think, they're about to graduate, say, and they basically tack on another 1 or 2 years and have all of those credits count as a master's. So they can finish the master's in less time. How long does it take to complete? So you can take up to 5 years to complete the certificate, and this comes from our grad college policies. Or if you can take 3 courses per semester, you could finish in a year. Right. So a lot of folks have, full-time work or full-time family responsibilities, and only 1 or 2 classes at a time would work. You could do that. Or if you really want to get done fast, you could do it within a year. Financial aid is available, yes. And if you have a particular situation, we could chat about the different options that you have, and I could definitely put you in contact with folks at the university who might have ideas around scholarships and things like that. Is a disability studies program for people with disabilities? Also, yes. We encourage people with disabilities to apply to this program. We'll work with any accommodation that will help you pursue your goals. I myself have disabilities, and I found that I actually became more confident in asking about my accommodations, right? Um, so this is definitely something that we want to encourage folks, if you're really interested in studying with us, to work out accommodations that you might need. And so how to apply? You'd email me to talk about where you're coming from, what your goals are, and what your time frame looks like. And if you like, we can set up, say, a virtual call or an office visit at Mann Hall, and we could just chat about the things that you're thinking about. And there's my email, winnie.luby@uvm.edu. So I think that's the end of our slides. I could open it up for questions if you have any, or if you think of something later, you can always email me too.
I have a question for you while we're here. I know that most of the pathways we just looked at are pretty science-based, and I was wondering if you could suggest a pathway that would this certificate work with folks who are coming more looking for arts studies, so things like English literature or there's a communication and media track at UVM. Will this certificate work for those folks as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I have an example. A former graduate, she came to us from actually New York City. She moved here with her partner, who's actually a scientist, I think. And her interest was in dance and theater with children with disabilities. That had been her prior work experience. And so she decided to do the certificate along with, she also enrolled in the independent study, what do you call it? Individually designed master's degree program. So she was able to pick and choose courses that kind of fit for that interest as well as for disability studies. And I was actually on her thesis committee. This is like right at the beginning of the pandemic, but she did a wonderful job. And so I'm actually really hoping that we have more folks from the arts uh, enroll. Arts is a passion of mine as well.
I want to create space for the folks who are here as attendees to ask questions, but I also have another question if um, we have the time and space. So when you and I work together, I work full time. So can you talk a little bit about those two required courses? Would I have to make time for them during my work day? Would I have to find some flexibility there? Or are they available to take like at night or on the weekend to fit around my work schedule?
Oh, that's a really good question, Audrey. So the cultural disability course that I teach, we meet virtually every other week, right? So in between, you would do your own asynchronous work, and everything would be accessible to you. I also post videos of myself, talking through the slides, trying to make everything as accessible as possible. And I also have pretty broad office hours if folks need to meet with me at any time. The Global Disability Studies class is actually asynchronous in the summer. I think it's 6 weeks. And also, Safakor is a point of pride for her that she wants to make the course as accessible as possible, right? Universal design for learning. And so, if folks have individual needs, she definitely wants to work with you.
Hi, this is Holly. I have a question.
Sure.
So my interest in this, so I'm a doctorally prepared nurse. And my interest in this is I have a grandson who's medically complex and he has arthrogryposis and a rare form of Ehlers-Danlos. So he's 4 now, and just the learning curve of having a family member, a grandchild with disabilities, it's really been fascinating. And I feel very blessed in the sense that one of my close friends is a medical librarian. And my daughter, who's the mother of this child, is a pharmacist. I have a nursing background. So we've been able to research and get him the best care possible through Shriners and other resources. My daughter is not on social media, so I kind of camp out on lots of social media sites just to get the buzz of what other families do who have children with disabilities, whether it's oxygen dependence or feeding tubes, things like that. So, um, part of my interest in exploring your program is I kind of feel like just by default, I've um, gained a lot of insight and I end up sort of passing that on to people informally through social media. And I'm so sort of amazed that there's not a central clearinghouse. I mean, yeah, there's the nonprofits for different types of disabilities, but to live a good life, uh, it takes a lot, So, so there's that. I'm just sharing kind of why I'm on today and what I'm interested in, why I'd be interested in pursuing the certificate, but also for older people, I've had multiple family members and neighbors who they're fully able bodied and then sort of hit that point where, wow, now they have a disability and transitioning across that again, it requires, psychosocial, bio, pharmaceutical, like all these resources to really live your best life.
Mhm.
And so I guess I'm curious about this program and if, you know, I'm not exactly sure what I would do with the certificate other than maybe kind of try to learn more and I don't know, create some types of other resources that more than my friends and family could benefit from. I don't know how that sounds, but maybe you could give me some feedback on whether that this program might be a good fit for something like that.
Yeah, I believe so, actually. It is an interdisciplinary certificate. And as you were talking, the first thing I thought of was the capstone project that we asked folks to complete toward the end. And for you, I would say, after your courses, you could be well placed to create some kind of clearinghouse yourself. right? That could be added on to collectively with other folks who are also interested in the same thing. Disability studies is a pretty, it's not really a young field, but it definitely is always changing, right? The language we use around disability is always changing. Our science is always changing, medicine. And so we try to keep the program as flexible as possible so that you're well prepared to kind of meet um, all those changes, really.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit more about the international? You mentioned something about the international or global studies. And the reason that piqued my interest also is the researcher who discovered the genetic mutation that my grandson has is in Switzerland at an academic facility. And we are in very close communications with her. She knows all 30 people in the world who are documented to have his case. And again, having the international perspective, knowing that there's people in Iran and the UK and South America and Canada with this, and then having somebody as a point person, I'm very interested in that. So in the global study, as a global aspect of this, can you talk a little more about what that includes or what's that
Sure.
content? Sure.
Sure, yeah. So Safakor designed this course. Originally, she is from Ghana, and she designed it somewhat around her knowledge base, right, around African culture. But then she also supplies these really practical and also theoretical um, tools for folks to kind of think through issues in a global way, right? And the final project for that class is actually to create and hold a public information session for anyone around the topic that you're interested in. She emphasizes what do you call it? Like socially engaged, community engaged work. So you would get tools from her for how to do that on an international scale.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Do you have any other
I have
questions?
I have a question. Um, so I currently work in early intervention at NCSS, and I I love my position, and I'm just interested in this program to just get more information. I'm kind of thinking of a master's, but I'm not really sure what I would want it in. I already have a bachelor's in early childhood special education. So this is a certificate. So you don't, at the end of this, you don't end up with a master's.
No,
Is
but
that
you can
no?
apply a lot of your credits towards a master's degree. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I feel like I had another question, but my brain's kind of foggy. Um, yeah, I guess that was it. Thank you. I appreciate the presentation. A lot of really good information.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Leonard.
Hello.
Fine, thank you. I'm enjoying the presentation. Is this a program that leads toward a PhD?
Um, well, I guess for me it did. It depends on what your goals are. So if you were to do the certificate first, say you already have your bachelor's, you do the certificate, you apply for a master's degree around the same time. So a lot of those credits kind of roll over into that. And then in your master's degree, the way I got into the PhD was one of my last classes was a research course with my advisor, right? And I helped her look for literature around the study she was doing. And I remember asking her, like, wow, I really like this research stuff. What can I do with that as a job? And she said, oh, you should apply for the PhD. You'll get to do that all the time. And so I hadn't pictured myself doing that at the beginning, but it really was a good fit for me.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Sure.
I'd like to walk in your shoe print. Okay. I have 2 masters and a doctorate. from the University of Pennsylvania, Drexel University. I'm just a professional student.
Mhm.
Okay, and I am of advanced stage, but I enjoy research, writing, and study. And so I would like to really explore this. And I would like to be guided
Mhm.
by someone who's ahead of me. So that's who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I have excuse me. I have kept in contact with prior graduates who every once in a while will ask, to brainstorm with me about something. So I'm happy to do that at any point, even if you haven't really thought about, for sure to apply or anything like that. I'd be happy to sit with you and talk through it.
Okay. Well, I'll get your number.
Mhm.
I'll give you my number and you
Okay.
can and you can call me. Now, could some of these classes be Zoom classes or would I need to come from New Jersey to Vermont?
Yeah, you could actually pick and choose courses that are all online. So, like
Okay.
my course is online, Safa courses. And I think since the pandemic, a lot of departments have moved a lot of their content online.
Okay. All right. Okay. I will reach back to you and continue the conversation.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I had one question, Winnie, if we have time for it.
Sure.
One of the pathways that we didn't get to cover in our slides pertains to education, K-12 education. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about what the disability studies certificate could look like for a classroom teacher or somebody who is looking to become a classroom teacher or somebody who is looking to bolster their credentials as they're teaching.
Okay. So I think the first one's the easiest. If, say, you're already a licensed teacher or close to it, the certificate could be your professional development, really, right? Because I know in certain school districts, you have to have so many credits to get promoted, et cetera, get more responsibilities. So some folks could use it that way. If you were interested in teaching but not quite sure, again, it would give you kind of like a baseline to start with. I know a lot of programs are, you're kind of back-to-back courses that are pretty set, but you could still fit in disability studies courses to supplement that learning if you want to.
Thank you very much for that.
Sure.